What's up, family? Welcome, man, to the Mental Game Podcast. Thank you for tuning in to another episode, man. This is where we have honest conversations about faith, mental health, family, relationships, whatever it may be, man. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, whatever we got to do to take the mindset forward, man, we got to do. So, if this is your first time here, welcome. We appreciate you. I appreciate you tuning in for the first time. You know what I'm saying? If you back, you know you already, you family. And, thank you for returning for another podcast, man. Mental Game is more than a clothing brand. It's a reminder that every day in life is a mental game, and you gotta have the right mentality to survive. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have the right mentality to conquer it. You gotta have the right set of tools in your shed, so to speak, man. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I do got a merch promotion. Still selling short sets for the summer. $60 with free shipping. You know what I'm saying? The website's still down. But if you still want to support the brand, you want to get you some merch, you know what I'm saying? You got to get you a mental game shirt like the one I got on. I had the short set in here somewhere. I must have took it out. You know what I'm saying? Hit me directly, man. Send me a DM. I need to start putting that type of stuff on my Instagram page so people could look at it, so they can hit me up like, hey man, I want that one. So just send me a DM, man. I'll get you taken care of. This week on Mental Games Book Spotlight, I want to continue to push my Mental Game Daily Check-In men's mindfulness journal, man. This is the Mental Game Daily Check-In. With this book, I'm gonna put it in the camera so y'all can see it. Get it. This book is available on Amazon, man. This journal was created for men who want to become more intentional about their emotional health. You know what I'm saying? This book lets you check in with yourself, pull a positive from everything you did today, yesterday, 4 days from now. You know what I'm saying? You can get on. It's like it's like you having an honest conversation to yourself, and you could track it and go through it. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, what was positive from today what was negative from today, man? Pulling all your wins together instead of just focusing on the negativity of you know what I'm saying, what you lost during the day, man. This helps you focus on the positive. So if you can, man, if you want to, you know what I'm saying, you don't really have to, but I advise you to. You know what I'm saying? Get on there, get on Amazon, man. Get you a Mental Game Daily Check-In journal, man. Hook yourself up. You feel me? Let me see. I'm getting a phone call. Hold on. Shout outs, man. Birthday shout outs. We in the month of July, man. July babies, man. Tap in, man. Happy birthday. If you celebrating a birthday in the month of July, man, God bless you. God keep you, man. I'm wishing you a many, many more going forward, man. Anybody celebrating anniversaries, shout out to you. You celebrating an anniversary. What is sobriety, wedding anniversary, whatever it may be, man. You still here, you know what I'm saying? You made it, you survived again. You chose life. Chose to choose life again, man. Another year. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody still hearing what your teacher said 20 years ago. And yes, that's crazy for me. It's been 20 years. Actually, I was looking on Facebook the other day. My class, after all this time, to finally have a reunion. Me and my homeboy, we still trying to decide if we gonna go. We trying to figure out if it's real. We trying to figure out if it's a hoax or not. So that's, we trying to get down to the bottom of it right now. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to parents who had one phrase they used to say that, it still lives rent free in your head, man. Like my mom always said, haste make waste. And that phrase has stuck with me like forever, man. I guarantee you, my mama be gone from this world, you know what I'm saying? Going to meet her maker, going to her next mission, and I will still carry that with me. I probably done pass that on to my daughter, and she probably gonna carry that and pass that on to, her generations that, she's gonna have and things like that. So, but most importantly, man, shout out to the survivors. Shout out to the people that made it through something that nobody clapped for. Shout out to the people that chose life today. Shout out to the people that, had a bad week and was, really, 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 really thinking negatively. Shout out to you, man. This shout out is for you, man. So my faith anchor, man, I'm doing a different verse this week. Psalms 139:14 says, I will praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. So I chose this verse today because I want to talk about, I want y'all to remember, before anybody else had an opinion of you, God had a purpose for you. And, as I get more and more into this episode, I just kind of want to remind everybody to not let people live rent free in your head and take up what you're trying to do and what you're trying to accomplish in your life. Don't let people's words hinder you and slow you down from your purpose, because before they even existed, somebody had a purpose for you. God had a purpose for you, and I firmly believe that. So, mental preparedness tip for this week, man. This week's preparedness tip is not about food. It's not about flashlights. It's about protecting your mind. You got to be careful of what people are telling you. You got to be careful of what people are pouring into you. You know what I'm saying? Be careful of what voices you allow to live rent free in your head, because, not everybody has great intentions for you. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody's opinion deserves a permanent residence in your head, man. So be careful what information you take. You know what I'm saying? And again, prepared people don't plan it. Don't panic. They plan. So, that brings me to my main topic. You know what I'm saying? What I, changed up my verse for this week. You know what I'm saying? I really been thinking about something, man. Like, there's a lot of us going around here. You know what I'm saying? We still living according to the words that somebody spoke over us, like, years and years ago. You know what I'm saying? They said things like, you'll never be anything. You know what I'm saying? You're too loud, you're too quiet, you're too fat, you're too skinny, you're dumb, you're ugly. I know I probably sound like Mister right now. But, you know what I'm saying? You're lazy, you never amount to anything. You'll never have a successful marriage. You'll never be successful. You know what I'm saying? You'll never own a business. Your business will never prosper. You'll never break the cycle. You just like your daddy. You'll always be like your daddy. You always be like your mama. You always be like, whoever the negative person or that had the negative stigma. You know what I'm saying? One thing I had to really overcome in my life, me and my dad have a kind of checkered past and checkered history. And, that's kind of like one of the things I was always told, because my dad was kind of looked at as like a negative person, in my life. Granted, my dad is something else, you know what I'm saying? I give it that, but I love you, Dad. Dad, I love you. My dad watches the podcast, no matter what I say. So, shout out to my dad. But, my dad was always looked at as a negative person. I looked at my dad negatively. And, people kind of thought, people that I told the, stories to and stuff like that about my dad, or people that knew about my dad and stuff like that, would kind of use that phrase against me, like, man, you just like your dad. And that, it stung, you know what I'm saying? For years it stung. And, not looking back, I realized what they were trying to do, but, back then when I was a kid, I didn't realize that. But, I realize now that I'm who God made me to be, and I'm on the path God wants me to be on. So, that's the beat that I dance to now, you know what I'm saying? But somehow, years later, these words are still, at the back of our mind some kind of way. They still affect us. They still, in some ways they guide our ship, you know what I'm saying? They, sometimes, if you're not in a positive space to think, you know what I'm saying, or a positive space of living or anything like that, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes the strongest prison, I'm sorry, I keep getting messages and stuff. She might be already gone. But sometimes the strongest prisons aren't made of steel, you know what I'm saying? It's made of words. And not even words we speak upon ourselves, but the words people speak, spoken by other people, you know what I'm saying? Parents, teachers, teachers could be mean sometimes, family members, you know what I'm saying? People, so-called friends, exes, co-workers, you know what I'm saying? All that to say, man, just, think about it. Like how many opportunities have you passed up because somebody convinced you that, you weren't, what's the word? How many opportunities have you passed up just because somebody told you that, you weren't good enough? You know what I'm saying? Like, you shouldn't, I know a young lady to this day, man, she lets a family member kind of dictate her life and tell her what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. You know what I'm saying? And even though it might not be the most ideal situation for her, but, I see on the outside looking in how that affects her. You know what I'm saying? She's depressed. She's just a different person when I look at her. And, I sit there and think to myself, I'm like, man, how the mighty have fallen sometimes. You see somebody in a positive headspace one moment, and then in the next, you know what I'm saying? It's like everything done fell down just because they sit there and let somebody else dictate, how their life should go. And another caveat, this person that lived their life, raised their kids and all that. Now she's telling them what to do, and it's not really positively affecting her. But I wonder, also, in all that, I wonder how many dreams done died just because, not because anybody lacked any talent or lacked any ability or anything like that. I wonder how many dreams done died because we let somebody else's opinion become our identity. I wonder how many job opportunities weren't taken or weren't given just because of somebody's opinion of somebody. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I've probably been in situations myself to where, I've probably been a perfect candidate for a job, but just because of how somebody else felt about me, they were able to convince somebody not to promote me or whatever the case may be. I want, that vicarious judgment. You know what I mean? Man, just think of that. Like, let me know that in the comments. Like, y'all put. Let me know that in the comments. Send me a DM if you're shy. But just think of that, man. Just think of that. Like, just think of like what you could have accomplished, man, if you just went for what you knew instead of for what somebody thought. You know what I mean? Well, just think of how life would be if you just trusted yourself. And you know what I'm saying? I don't want nobody I don't want nobody to get the wrong idea. I'm not calling everybody to be a rebel or anything like that. But if you got good sense and you got good sense and you got all these people around you telling you got good sense, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking to those people. I'm talking to the sensible individuals, you know what I'm saying? People that got sense. I'm not talking to talking about these old renegade people out here just, running through life willy nilly, just doing whatever. I'm talking to the people with sense. Like, I wonder how many of y'all dreams then died. You know what I'm saying? Not because you lack the ability, but because you listen to an opinion of somebody. Listen to what somebody said. It might not even been true. You know what I'm saying? I love one of the first questions God asked in the Bible after Adam and Eve had sinned or whatever. Adam said he hid because he was naked, and God asked him, Who told you you was naked?" You know what I'm saying? That question always stood out to me because, what I'm saying, sometimes we accept labels that, that didn't even mean anything. You know what I mean? So it's like, so today I want to ask I want to ask you, the audience, man. Don't mind me. I'm rambling. My mind is going a million miles a minute. You know what I'm saying? I want to ask you, the people that's listening, the people that's watching, you guided by the sound of my voice right now. You know what I'm saying? Who told you you weren't enough? You know what I'm saying? Who told you you weren't good enough? Who told you you couldn't change? Who told you you couldn't get better? You know what I'm saying? Who told you God couldn't use you, no matter where you were in life? You know what I'm saying? Who told you that? You know what I'm saying? Who told you your mistakes were bigger than God's grace? You know what I'm saying? Who told you you couldn't come back from the mistakes you made? Who told you that? You know what I'm saying? We gotta break the cycle somewhere. You know what I'm saying? We gotta realize and take your power back. I remember somebody told me in therapy a long time ago, stop letting the words people said so long ago hold so much power over you. You know what I'm saying? You gotta persevere. You gotta survive, man. You gotta tap into that survivor mentality. Yes, that was a pun. You know what I mean? But you know what I'm saying, you don't have to carry every word somebody spoke to you. Some shit you gotta let go in one ear and out the other. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people speak from their own pain and their own experiences, but that's their pain and their experience. It's not necessarily going the same thing that happened to them is not necessarily gonna happen to you. We all are different. We all on different walks of life. We all got different things that we doing. We all got different things that we experiencing. So, everybody's slide A don't fit everybody else's slide A. You know what I'm saying? So we all uniquely and wonderfully made. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people speak from their own fearful situations. There was an experiment that was conducted a long time ago. I remember somebody telling me, with some monkeys. It kind of every time I watch Planet of the Apes with when they put Caesar in that cage, it remind me of it. They put one monkey in the cage, and then they put a banana. They suspended a banana up somewhere in the cage, and they had everything around for the monkey to climb on. And as soon as the monkey climbed up there, to reach the banana, they sprayed the monkey with a whole bunch of water. The monkey fell down, and it was kind of like a learning lesson. It was it was an experiment they were conducting. The monkey tried again. They did the same thing. The monkey tried again. So lo and behold, the monkey gave up. So okay, they completed that part of the test. So then, over time, they started letting more and more monkeys in. And the monkeys are trying to do the same thing, but because that monkey actually, long story short, that monkey ended up teaching every other monkey that they had brought in that room to not go for that banana because of what happened to him. You know what I'm saying? He every time the other monkeys would go for the banana, he'll grab them and stop them from doing it. Like, no, no, no. He know those other monkeys didn't get sprayed with water. It was just him. He was the only one that got sprayed by the water. So that monkey was operating and teaching from his own, stagnant and state of fear. You know what I'm saying? His own insecurity, his own limitations. You know what I'm saying? He was able to convince that whole group of monkeys that, hey, no matter what, you can't reach that. So don't let people do that to your life. Don't let people like hinder you from achieving greatness because they couldn't or because they weren't able to. Don't let them people hinder you. Don't let them people or their words, offend you and break you and be that ball and chain on your ankle. Let them keep it on theirs. You know what I'm saying? So, man, I remember when I first started Mental Game and how I wanted to do I always spoke about how I wanted to do a podcast to raise awareness of the brand. People would tell me, it wasn't, how can I say it? People would tell me, I don't think I don't think, being from the black community, I don't think you're going to get that much support. And, my support is kind of staggered, but I keep persevering. I keep pushing through no matter what anybody says because I feel mental health is important. I feel mental health is an important topic to talk about. And yeah, I see out here in the world, most of the people out here, everybody only pays attention to negativity, saying somebody fighting, somebody bickering and stuff on the podcast. I don't have a podcast like that. I don't like negativity. I don't like negative confrontation. I try to keep that away from my podcast. It's like normally when you see me on a podcast and I have people on here, we're not arguing, we conversating, we talking, we having a good time generally. So, that's what I have. And, people have told me that I wouldn't make it. My designs ain't all that. And, so be it. It is what it is. But, my content is for who it's for. And I really don't believe I believe my purpose is bigger than, what's going on right now. So when you see me, months from now, on a different platform, doing different things, doing bigger and better things, hey, I stuck to it because I didn't let anybody's words, have any power over my vision, the vision that God gave me. So I want to propose these questions to the audience, man, or this question, you know what I'm saying? Like, what negative sentence have you been replaying to yourself for the last few years? You know what I'm saying? And whatever it is, man, before I even hear about it, before I even read it, man, whatever it is, man, just go ahead and let it go. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, be the version of you that you need to be. Stop letting other people's ball and chain be on your ankle. You know what I'm saying? Unchain yourself, from somebody else's words, you know what I'm saying? Think of some positive stuff to replace it with. Think of some positive phrases, to replace that phrase with. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm here to tell you, we're all wonderfully made, man. I know some people carry that negativity with them and they use it as a tool, as a crutch, as a safety net, but it's not that, man. It's a hindrance. So, you know what I'm saying? Now, I think we all kind of have that like internal voice that kind of speaks to us and tells us things that, how things should be. Like, now you shouldn't, maybe we got two. Maybe we got a negative and a positive one. Maybe everybody got their little angel and devil on their shoulder. Kind of, like that internal confrontation that we have. But, y'all need to be careful, man, because our inner voice eventually starts sounding like whoever we listen to the most. And don't let that be that negative person who spoke so much negativity over your life. Don't let your inner voice become that person. If your inner voice constantly tears you down, man, you need to ask yourself, who taught you to talk to yourself like that? And change the narrative. So in closing, man, like this week, every time one of those old lies pops up, this is what I want you to do. I want you to replace it. Now, I know there's a lot of people that probably watch me. You're not spiritual. You probably don't do, you probably not in the Bible or whatever like that. You know what I'm saying? Replace it with scripture. Those are for my spiritual folk, the folks in tune. Y'all know who I'm talking about. For those other folks, replace it with the truth. You know what I'm saying? Look yourself in the mirror and really like dissect yourself. Replace it with the truth. Replace it with what you see in the mirror. You know what I'm saying? Build yourself up. Pull yourself up. Unchain yourself from them negative people. Leave them where they at. You know what I'm saying? Like, replace it with the evidence, that God already brought you through. You know what I'm saying? Like, I done talked to y'all already. And, if you watch my podcast, you've been, I done had a motorcycle accident when I'm not supposed to be here right now, and that's just a testament of what God brought me through, man. I should be dead right now, I know my mom and my sister and my daughter and my wife probably wouldn't want me saying that, but I should really be dead right now. My brain should be splattered on the concrete, you know what I'm saying? Because I had a motorcycle accident. And here I am talking to y'all, spreading the message and promoting positivity, promoting positive mentalities, you know what I'm saying? So, if you could listen to anybody, you can listen to me, man, for what God has brought me through. I lost my job, man, and I survived off of a fraction of the income that I had because my job told the workforce, lies so I wouldn't get my unemployment. So I survived up and, on a quarter of my income, not even a quarter, I survived. I done made it through. I done really, really made it through, man. So if you want to listen to anybody, man, listen to me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a testament of what God done brought me through. God done brought me through some things, man. And I'm still here preaching. I'm still here talking. I'm still here laughing. I'm still here doing what I feel that I need to do. I feel like I'm in line with my purpose. So, people gonna always have their opinions, man. People gonna always say what they feel they should say. What they feel they need to say because of their own negative experiences. That's the word I'm looking for. Somebody's always going to underestimate you. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's always going to misunderstand you. We all weren't given the same vision. You know what I'm saying? Some people going to try to define you and tell you who you are, when they didn't even create you. But like I just said, man, they didn't create you. God did. So I'm just fanning through my notes, man. Just like, I'm a firm believer in, I'm not going to listen to anybody's negative opinion about me if they ain't create me. And, I ain't going to hold y'all too long, man. I appreciate y'all watching. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate every single person that's been rocking with the Mental Game Podcast. And Mental Game is a brand, period. You know what I'm saying? I've been real busy at work, so I haven't been able to nail down a pop-up shop yet. I did do a couple. If I didn't sell a hoodie, I definitely raised awareness about mental health and, why I started my journey and stuff like that. And people rock with it, you know what I'm saying? And I'm glad to, be able to get out here and, quote unquote, find my people. So if today's episode encouraged you, man, I advise you, please share it with somebody who needs to hear these words. If you're looking to support the movement, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, man, I got a gang of books out here. You know what I'm saying? I'm working on one right now. It's not a tell-all book, but it's like, book of my shared experiences and how I got through them. It's called The Mental Game. It'll be out real soon, man. It's going to be on Amazon just like these other books. You know what I'm saying? If you want to support the movement, support my projects, man. You can always DM for some merch, man, for some Mental Game merch. Hit me up, man. I can show you what I got. Got my book, Dangerous Attraction, that tells the thriller story of Miles, man. My boy Miles, man. He's New Orleans native, no relation or anything like that. His name is Miles Davis, you know what I'm saying? He's going through some things in this book, man. He meets this lady, who at first she appears to be one way, but she turns out to be another. So I advise you, if you like thrillers, if you like suspense, I advise you, tap into Dangerous Attraction. It's available on Amazon, man. I'll put it up somewhere on the screen somewhere. It's probably going to show earlier in the episode, but also, we got the Mental Game Daily Check-In Journal for men. I'm working on one for women. I'm working on one for women. Actually, this is a collaborative project I did with my sister and her company, Or Erie. She does all kind of journals, spiritual journals and stuff like that. So even if you don't feel like you need this book and you need some other type of journal, hit my sister up, man. She's got a lot of journals that she created, on her platform. So check her out, man. And until next time, man, don't live under the strain of somebody else's words, man. Don't let anybody's words hold power of you 10, 20 years later. You got to learn how to speak positivity over yourself and really just, live in your own truth, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Stop worrying about the confines of the world, what confines people put on themselves, man. You do you. So y'all always remember, man, be focused and not foolish, bro. And we out.